The Democrats made it a lot harder for themselves to use the law which Donald Trump could have used and was used before in the past. They made it a lot harder for themselves to be able to object to the count. However, it's not impossible, so it's always good to be armed with complete facts. Remember when elite media, the Justice Department under Biden, Jack Smith, and members of the public with Trump derangement syndrome all said that Trump had mounted a coup on January 6, 2021, and that he used, quote, fake electors, and Wikipedia calls it a fake elector plot? Actually, they've never been called fake electors. They're called alternate electors or dueling electors because the law of 1887, Electoral Count Law, states that one senator and one representative can come forward in writing and object to the counting of certain votes in a particular state if there is reason to say that it hasn't been counted properly. Now, in one instance, George W. Bush's vice president allowed that discussion to go forward. This was 2005, January 6th. It was Barbara Boxer and Stephanie Tubbs Jones. So they repaired to their respective chambers, discussed it, and then put it to a vote, whereupon the objection was rejected. Right? And they certified the vote for George W. Bush. This was for his re-election during the Iraq War. Yes. And the state was Ohio. It was pretty close, and the machines had many irregularities. But in 2016, when Democrats tried to object to the election of Donald Trump, who shot it down but Joe Biden, who was presiding over the proceedings? The vice president always presides over the electoral count, which is always on January 6th. So Joe Biden would not even let them get a sentence out as far as having submitted in writing an objection to the count of the election in certain states. After the media called it a coup and a plot, and Mike Pence insisted that he couldn't do anything about it, the law actually says that the vice president needs to keep order, that it is possible to debate this and even have a vote. The 1887 law was in response to a very contentious election in 1876, which I just found out about. Can you believe it? But Democrat Samuel Tilden won the popular vote. However, there were objections to Oregon, Louisiana, and Florida's electoral votes. Something about how the counting was irregular. So, what happened? This is crazy. Congress appointed a special commission who then chose Rutherford B. Hayes by rejecting and throwing out entirely the electoral votes of Louisiana, Florida, and Oregon. Now, you can imagine how they'd want to pass a law. Well, the law is, by all accounts, pretty vague. However, it is still possible to mount an objection. You do have to show, though, that the count was not done in a proper manner. So there are some hurdles. And now, since 2022, Congress made the law of 1887. They changed it so to say that the vice president has merely ceremonial duties. However, 20% of the House and 20% of the Senate can, in writing, object to the count and can debate this if whoever is presiding over the proceedings allows the law to go forward, which is repairing to their chambers and debating it and then putting the objection to the count to a vote. Now that it says that the vice president's duties are merely ceremonial, I'd be very curious to know how he's going to keep order according to this law they say he must do, he or she. In any case, the Democrats made it a lot harder for themselves to use the law which Donald Trump could have used and was used before in the past. They made it a lot harder for themselves to be able to object to the count. However, it's not impossible, so it's always good to be armed with complete facts. Anyway, calling it a coup and fake electors wasn't a very good idea either. Now, are they going to mount fake electors? I can't wait for the mental gymnastics of the fact checkers on that. Oh, it's different. It's different. Oh, yeah. Oh, no, of course. The far right is delusional. Well, we changed the law, but we actually made it possible now. Yeah. And the ceremonial part, well, yeah, he's just carrying out that law. You know it's true.